We lose Bill Walton at 71 years old after a prolonged battle with cancer. Obviously, the tweets from everywhere were rolling in, from the sports world, from the celebrity world, from the who's who of who world. How about this? Barack Obama, former president, Bill Walton, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, a champion at every level and the embodiment of unselfish team play. He was also a wonderful spirit full of curiosity, humor, and kindness.
It's that last sentence for me.
Yeah.
It's that last sentence.
Dr. J weighing in. I mean, so many iconic people who knew Bill Walton and obviously his impact on them in the game. Jason Kidd weighing in. Just a devastating loss in society, quite frankly, George.
And you see it's Jason Kidd tweeting about him, Alex Rodriguez, Magic Johnson putting out long paragraphs about him and the player he was. And Bill Walton, this is a guy, Celtics, of course, putting a statement out. The Boston Celtics celebrate Bill's wonderful life and legacy and send their deepest sympathies to the Walton family. Of course, Wyc Grousbeck, owner of the Celtics, get that Eastern Conference Finals trophy.
Yeah.
And he says this is for Bill Walton, who passed away. 71 years old.
Yeah.
Someone that transcended basketball and related to so many people on so many different topics, like two-time NBA champion, two-time NCAA champion, 1978 NBA MVP. But his story, too, I mean, injuries, like just tore apart his career. Missed 3 years early on in his career when he was with the Trailblazers and brought a ring to that city. 1974, when he's a senior at UCLA, lands on the floor hard, breaks his back. 11 days later, plays for the Bruins.
That's crazy.
And dealt with that. But this was a guy that was so outspoken for mental health issues.
Yeah.
Dealt with suicide early on because of the pain he was feeling.
Right.
And all the injuries he battled, especially with his feet, where when you're an athlete and what you identify with is being an athlete and it gets taken away, how do you deal with that? It was for athletes. It was U.S. servicemen, men and women, veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces coming back to the States. His wife trains service dogs for a living that help with the PTSD of those service people.
Wow.
And he also identified the mental health issues they dealt with. Like, this was someone that was one of the all-time greats of basketball, felt in Boston because came to this city, played 80 games, won a ring. Next season, only 10 games, injuries ended his career.
Yep.
But it was so much more than that, and like how they put it, as a kind human, someone that's curious, that's what it was. For me, how I identify with him the most as a deadhead. And that's a guy, the tallest deadhead that loved that band.
Yes.
Saw them when he was 15. Went to over 1,000 concerts in his lifetime. He shared stories of sneaking Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish to a concert. They met Jerry Garcia. And imagine Larry Bird at a Grateful Dead concert in the old Garden.
Wow.
The second it ends, after a 5-6 hour set, they go, "Can we come back tomorrow night?"
It's iconic.
But he connected worlds you'd never expect. They're Hick from French Lick being a deadhead.
Yeah.
But he made that happen. And how much he loved basketball, loved life, just wanted to make the world a better place every time he woke up to the time he went to bed. That's Bill Walton. And what he was for Boston, he came to the Celtics team and was someone that averaged pretty much a double-double his whole career. Came in, said, "I'll play 20 minutes a night. Whatever you need me to be, I'll be the sixth man." Only scored 7 points a night and won Sixth Man of the Year. That never happens. But the league knew how important he was to the Celtics getting that ring. And Larry Bird saying he was one of my favorite teammates, if not his favorite teammate of all time.
Yeah. Called him his childhood idol, too, which is crazy to think about as well. I mean, listen, hearing you talk about that Grateful Dead and taking those players out to that concert, Rick Carlisle, who actually, obviously now current coach of the Pacers, but a former teammate on that team you're talking about, actually told a really great story about that. And it was his first date with his now wife. Take a listen to this.
I have him to thank probably also for me being married to my wife, Donna. Our first date was to a Dead show in Washington, D.C., and I called Bill, and I said, "Look, this is 1987. I got a date with a girl that I think is pretty cool. I'd love to go to the Dead show at Capitol Center. I don't have any tickets. Can you help?" And he said, just go to the back door, ask for Dennis McAnally, tell him you're Rick Carlisle from the Boston Celtics, and everything will be just fine.
Wow. I mean, listen, he was two before my time as far as a player is concerned. Obviously, I knew he was iconic, just like all the old-time players. I knew that being a fan of the game growing up. But my memory of him is actually him as a broadcaster. Like, by the time he was, like, blowing up as a broadcaster, I was of age, we'll call it. and I was a college kid, and me and all my buddies would be drunk as hell, and the TV would be down because we didn't want to hear the commentary of whoever all the experts were. And every time he would talk, we would turn that volume up because we knew he was going to entertain us and make us laugh with just being ridiculous. And I actually think just the way he lived his life, all the accolades you said, the stuff he was doing behind the scenes, but just him living out loud, if you will, and being unapologetically him and living life to the fullest, I believe is a great lesson for all of us. Mm-hmm. And that's why I said at the top of the show, we'll honor and celebrate the life that was here too. Obviously we're mourning, we're sad, but the kind of guy he was to bring light into this world that is so damn dark.
Yeah.
I mean, and you saw that sentiment a lot with some of these tweets and some of the statements that we saw from all these players and people that knew him in general, is that, the world lost the light with losing Bill Walton. And I think that's important for all of us to remember for our own lives, is to try to be that.
Yeah, just he woke up every day.
Yes.
How to make this world the best place possible. How do I be kind? How do I
That's
be
right.
curious? How do I have to bring the best energy? You also read about him, and here's him. This is him speaking about Nikola Jokic. I'm going to preface it with that. When you see someone like a Nelson Mandela or a Martin Luther King Jr. or Mahatma Gandhi, someone who sees a future before anyone else does, knows how to get to where they need to be, where they want to be, that is Nikola Jokic. Compared him to Mandela, Martin Luther King, and Gandhi. Happiness begins when selfishness ends. In a game that has been taken over by incessant dribbling for yourself, Nikola Jokic is such a breath of fresh air. And it's his imagination. Watching him play basketball is like watching Bob Dylan come up with a song. That's Bill Walton in one quote right there. Where that's a guy that's so well-versed that understands what MLK, Gandhi, and Mandela are about, but so deep into music, loved Fish, loved Grateful Dead, loved Bob Dylan, and loved basketball, he could intertwine all three effortlessly in one sentence. That's just someone that whoever got to meet him, they're lucky. I felt connected to him in a way through music and basketball, mainly through music.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to a Grateful Dead concert. It's life-changing in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And why he loved
I've
Grateful
heard that.
Dead, because he said it's the nicest place you'll ever be. It's kind. It's teamwork, because that's a jam band. You know when the song's going to start. You know how it's going to finish. You don't know what the 10 minutes in between are going to be like, but it is the most beautiful journey of all time. And he said it's all one song when you go to a concert.
Wow.
And that is someone, it's always thrown around. Blank is one of a kind. There'll never be another blank.
Yeah.
There will never be another Bill Walton.
No question about that. And that's what made him so beautiful. By the way.